Well, hello, and a very warm welcome back to another week on my allotment. And I hope you'll excuse the silly hat, but it is so very warm inside this hat that I'm keeping it on. I may take it off later, I may not. But yeah, welcome back to the plot. And I'd like to start with a very sincere thank you to all those who took the time and effort to leave a comment on my last video. Of course, the last video was where I said what my family's ambitions are for this year ahead, and it was heartwarming to see all the positive response. I don't think I've ever had as many comments on a single video as I did on the last one, and I appreciate them all. I responded to them all. It was absolutely lovely, so thank you very much. It was much appreciated. Really looking forward to the year ahead. But on the plot, what a difference a couple of weeks makes. As you will be aware from my last video again, I showed some clips of the previous Monday when this plot was completely flooded and overwhelmed by rainwater. And of course, by the time I posted the video on last Sunday or Monday, the plot was starting to dry out already. And we've had another week of complete dry weather. The media, as always, are going well over the top. You know, all sorts of doom and disaster about Arctic blasts and the country covered in deep snow, and you know the sort of thing. They can't help themselves. Well, here we are. Look, it's not that cold. It's certainly above zero. No snow. Now, of course, I might be going a bit early. Anyway, enough of that. So, on the plot, really keeping busy. Still lots to do. You know, anybody who says this time of the year is quiet on the allotment, it's not my experience. This is the time when you get ahead, when you get all the infrastructure work done. You prepare the soil if you haven't already, if it's workable. And it's perfectly workable right now. It's above zero. It's drying out beautifully. I continue to rake every bed, which breaks it down even more, and the beds are looking fantastic. So I'm very busy on my plot at this time of year, and I'll show you a little bit more about that later. When I first started doing my videos, I started by saying I will never be doing "this is how you do it" videos, because I was just learning. Well, that was a few years ago. And I'm very happy to stand here now and say I'm a lot more experienced at what I'm doing with growing fruits and vegetables. I know what I'm doing. That doesn't mean I can't learn, and I make mistakes every year like every plotter does. But I'm fairly confident that I could pass on some of my lessons learned and experience to people who are just starting out or are looking for advice. So what I shall be doing this year, different to other years, is just giving a few pointers of what I'm doing each month on my plot, and you may want to consider them. We'll see how it's received, but I'm going to start that today. A few more funny, interesting facts, but I'll start, if you don't mind, by just having a little wander around. Not a plot tour, because I've done that, but just to show you what I've done that's moved on from last week. So let's do that now. Well, it should be fairly clear if I pan around the plot that I've been busy with the beds. As I said, raking them over. Every time I come up here, breaking the soil down, making it more friable. And some of the beds are now starting to show signs of actually drying out. Very happy with the way it is. Now I know it can go backwards in a day. Once the heavy rains return, and they will, it'll all be back to square one. But it doesn't stop me trying. And this strawberry bed is a good example. That was underwater 2 weeks ago. And I've now broken up the soil, turned the surface of it, and today I think I'll rake it and just break it up a little more. When the plot was underwater, the paths were also very soft underfoot and were puddling. So I've taken the opportunity, now the weather's dry for a while, to put some more old bits of wood down to firm it up, and then because we've still got quite a good pile of chippings, I've been putting more chippings down, and you can see on the main path where I've got to, just there, and on that far path over there, because it's a bit narrower, I've got a bit further, and I've got to there. So more of that today. I have pots all around the plot, and I'm very pleased to see that signs of spring are on their way. This pot of daffodils are showing signs of future flowers. I've mentioned before that because I work at the garden centre 1 day a week, looking after the grounds outside, he gives me access to the pallets and old rough timber that they've got, and I always hanging around waiting for the wood that their Christmas trees come in, because it's really good stuff and it's untreated. You can see it, that stuff there. So this year, as with the last few years, I was the first in the queue and I got it, and I'm storing it up here, and I'm making firewood out of most of it, and there's more under the cover, and there's more of it in the shed. It's everywhere, and I shall be sawing more of that and chopping it today, making sure that I have abundant supplies of firewood. You may be able to work out that I have taken the opportunity, now that the ditches have finally dried out, of digging them out, and a lot of the soil has been thrown up on the top here. This is where the leaks were and were taken out last week. So those ditches have been redug in anticipation of more rain, and this one has slightly flooded again. Well, flooded is the wrong word, but more water has appeared as I've dug it out. It was dry when I dug it out, but that's what they're there for, and I'm really pleased that I've managed to get them another few inches deeper. And of course all the sediment that builds up is good fertile soil, and it's been packed. You can't see it really, but there's a ridge here where I threw it up on top and then I've covered it, and in a month or so, when I prepare this bed for planting, I will rake it across, and it'll add to the fertility of this bed. Very pleased with that. And I'm also pleased to report that these were the raspberry plants I took from my mother's garden when she wanted them removed. And as always, I walk around stooping down looking at plants in the winter, and there are tiny little buds of regrowth on those raspberry plants, so it looks like at least some of them have succeeded in being transplanted successfully. So, as I said, each month I will just give you a few pointers as to what I'm concentrating on that month. It's not exhaustive, it's not comprehensive, but it's just a few pointers that may or may not help people starting out in the game. So, for January, first of all, and I take more pleasure from this than I should do, scour the seed catalogues. Once you order, even if you order online with a company, they will start sending you seed catalogues in hard copy, and they're fascinating. I can spend hours looking at these. So look through the seed store you have, what seeds you have left over that are still in date and viable, and then order. The garden centres now have their seed potatoes in, so if you get there early you'll get the best choice, but order your seeds for the year ahead. And again, being a pencil and paper guy, do your plan for the beds. I'm learning more and more that crop rotation on an allotment isn't always the best option, but I try to do it wherever possible. So for example, one of the things I'm limited by is those large metal Harris fencing panels that I grow my alderman peas up, which grow to 7-8 feet high. Those panels will only fit on the larger beds, so I can't rotate as much as I'd like with that, but I rotate wherever possible. So the second point is, whether it's on a computer or on a piece of paper, plan your plot so you know what is going where, and then update it as it changes through the year, which it inevitably will. If you haven't already done it this year, go into your greenhouse or your polytunnel and clean it inside and out. Maybe even use disinfectant if you need to, but light levels are low this time of year, so the cleaner the glass or the plastic in the greenhouse and polytunnel, the more light you let in, the better it is for your seedlings. Next, and I did that this weekend, go over your stored crops, go through your potatoes, your apples, whatever it is you're storing, check them individually for any signs of rot or if they're going soft, and remove them because it will spread to the rest of the crop. And if you've got any root vegetables still left in, then that are overwintering in the soil, keep using them, because they'll only rot in the ground if you don't use them. Take the opportunity while it's quieter on the plot to clean off all your hand tools, sharpen all the blades. I keep a tub here with some old engine oil from the lawnmower, some WD-40, wire wool and blade sharpening stones, and this is where I get all my stuff to clean and sharpen and maintain my tools. Find that quite a good idea. Keep it all in one place so you don't lose it. Well, a couple of weeks ago you would have seen me put this drum over one of my 4 rhubarb plants. So if you haven't done so, now is the time to use a proper rhubarb forcer or an old dustbin or a drum and cover one of your rhubarb plants, and that will force it to grow sweeter and more succulent, and you'll get the sweetest ever rhubarb by about the beginning of March. Another job to do this time of year, you can obtain bare root soft fruits plants and fruit trees, and if they're bare root, they're planted now when everything is dormant, and they're cheaper to buy. So if you haven't already done so, you need to do that sooner rather than later, but buy and plant any bare root soft fruit and fruit trees. And the last thing that I'm doing this month is maintaining all the infrastructure, so painting the sheds, making sure that there are no screws loose or anything like that, and keeping on top of all the stuff that goes around the allotment that you can do now and you won't have time to do once the fruits and vegetables start growing. Well, no video is complete without a little humour and some useless facts. So here we go. Most people fart between 14 and 23 times a day. If the cap fits, wear it. St. Lucia is the only country in the world named after a woman. In 1783, the very first hot air balloon took off with a sheep, a duck and a cockerel in it. On average, men get bored of a shopping trip after 26 minutes. See, I'm a little bit different to most because I'm bored with a shopping trip 26 minutes before we've left. 95% of people text things they would never say in person. A swarm of 20,000 bees followed a car for 2 days because their queen bee was trapped inside it. Sea otters hold hands when they sleep so they don't drift apart. Cherophobia is the fear of fun or happiness. Do you know, you start by thinking about that and thinking, well, that's ridiculous. Who doesn't like a bit of fun? But actually, when I look back, I've met only a couple, but I have met a couple of people who, for whatever reason, and clearly now I know, they just cannot enjoy themselves. Fascinating. Do you know anyone like that? 7% of American adults believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. Well, that's an odd thing to think because white milk doesn't come from white cows, does it? Strange. If you lift a kangaroo's tail off the ground, it can't hop. Most Korean people don't have armpit odour. During your lifetime, you will produce enough saliva to fill 50 bathtubs. Really? Movie trailers were originally shown at the end of the movie, which is why they're called trailers. Isn't that odd? I can't think of a reason to do that. Only 5% of the ocean has been explored. Yeah, quite interesting. Well, I've said before that we haven't received manure from the landowner for, well over a year. Well over a year. I don't know why, but he's just stopped bringing it. Anyway, this pile of couch grass and weeds underneath is the remnants of the last delivery we had. So whilst it's a mess, it should be good stuff, and I want to top dress around the pond where my flowers grow, so I'm going to have a go at sifting some of this into my wheelbarrow. We'll see how it goes. Well, that didn't take too long at all. And what a difference it's made. Happy with that. Well, what a glorious day. The weather forecast said it would be about 1 degree low and a high of 4 degrees centigrade through the day. My thermometer registered 13.1 degrees centigrade. Now, I don't know how accurate that is, but it's certainly been t-shirt weather from about 11 o'clock onwards. Glorious. What a stunning day. Not a breath of wind. I've got a lot done. The paths are now complete up to the top of chippings. I've got one more path left to do. It's not a priority because I don't use it a great deal. And the sifting of that very, very old cow muck that's got couch grass and all sorts growing in it and on it, that went so well. It was so easy to do. The spade just glided in. That not only did I do around the pond as I intended, I've covered one of the smaller beds which had leaves on it loosely as a mulch. I've covered the leaves with a couple of inches of that beautiful organic cow muck. And when I come up next time, I'm going to do that to another one of the beds that's got leaves on it. So that's proved a really fortuitous bit of luck that I had a bit of a dig in there and see what it was like. Just hope nobody else spots it. It's unlikely. I mean, there's nobody been up today, not a single person. Yeah, strange. Don't understand. I don't understand having an allotment and paying for it and going every week and buying fruits and veg in the supermarket. That, I mean, if anyone can explain that to me, it's utterly beyond me. Anyway, I've had a good day. I'm going to go home now. Edit this and put my feet up, unless the wife's got other ideas. So I shall probably see you next weekend or whenever I'm back. Until then, look after yourselves, take care, bye for now.